died 4 years ago. Bob Nicolaisen died. Who else? Earl, Bob, Deb. Anyway, it's a time of remembering, and so we want to make the most of this time as we get to renew acquaintances. As I think back on Grandpa Larson, there are quite a number of people here now who never knew Grandpa because he died in the late 1950s. I have two memories of Grandpa that are really strong memories. And one memory, and this is for the men here, one memory that I have of Grandpa Larson is that he used to wipe dishes for Grandma. They didn't have a dishwasher at that time, but Grandpa Larson used to stand in that farmhouse kitchen and wipe the dishes. Others here remember seeing him do that? Wait a minute, have you ever seen him do that? That was a memory that I have that was just impressed upon me. And then another memory that I have of Grandpa is that before he went to bed at night, he'd sit at the kitchen table and he'd read the Bible out loud. He'd read the Bible out loud. And at the time, I would be upstairs when I was staying out there, so I don't know what he was saying. I don't know what he was reading, but I knew that he was reading the Bible out loud. And that I'm sure had an impression on me and what happened to me in the years since then. So we do carry those strong memories with us. When we start our program, let's just pray and thank the Lord for the privilege we have of being here. Father in heaven, we're just thankful for our heritage. We're thankful for our families, for Grandpa and Grandma Larson, for what they gave us, for the faith that they left behind. We're thankful, Lord, for their family, those kids. And I think back right now at the Christmas times we had where we gathered out at the family farm. I remember Emo making a 5-gallon pail of homemade ice cream. And I remember playing in the barn with my cousins. And I remember the fun that we had. I remember Carol Sutwood reading the Christmas story, Lord. Lord, we do have so many good memories. We're just thankful for that. We're thankful for our many, many blessings. And we're thankful, Lord, for what you mean to each one of us. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you. Carol is going to come up. Carol? Where is Carol? And is going to talk and remember those that have gone before us in the last 5 years.
Alan, you did a good job. I'm going to probably kind of repeat some of this. The ones that have passed away since the last 5 years. And as you look at this and you think about these people, memories just flood back. And you probably have different memories of these people than I, because we lived the farthest away, so you probably have other memories. But anyway, last year in July we had a reunion. And now correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was in October. Where are you, Joyce? Was it October? That Bob Nicolaisen, the husband of Joyce, the daughter of Ruth, was killed in October in an accident that shocked us all. We remember Bob as a quiet and still man, but when he talked to you, he could make you feel special. And you knew that you could depend upon him, and he'd keep his word. So we remember him in a very special way. Then in February of 1998, Gladys left us, and we knew at the last family reunion that she was struggling with cancer. But we watched her in awe as she made the most of her life, enjoying being with family, and I can still see her sitting in the shade close to the platform as one of the Lee sisters took the stage. I believe the sister was Lone Lee, And the amazing thing is that she referred to Gladys as mother. I saw no resemblance at all. But families seem always to surprise one. We miss Gladys, but because of her, each one of us saw in her a quality that we looked to and admired. So we have a past memories of her that cannot be taken away. Then, in June of 1998, we lost Earl, the son of Edith. Ramona Gordon Cornelius was remembered at the last reunion as the first grandchild of Carl and Emma to be taken. Earl was the second. Earl's death was unexpected and again reminds us that life is fragile and no one knows the day or the hour. Earl had just returned from doing one of the things he loved, and that was fishing. I often wonder which he did prefer, fishing or hunting. One special memory of him that I have is his picking up his guitar at one of the family reunions and singing out behind the barn. I remember as I listened to that he should have had an agent. I'd buy the tape immediately. We think of him today as a very special person. Then in January of this year, we lost another one of Carl and Emma's 12 children. Ola was the 10th in line. I love to listen to his hunting stories. The one about the grizzly bear almost made truth seem stranger than fiction. And he liked nothing better than to tell those stories. But he also shared his faith stories with us. And that's the part of him that I carry with me. What a treasure we have in memories that have been given to us through the lives of this family that we are a part of. Then in January of this year also, we were told the night of our Christmas party in January in Clarkfield that Jim Wise, the son-in-law of Arlen and Lois Copeland, had died. I remember him being at Arlen and Lois's golden wedding anniversary in June of 2000. He was young and vibrant. Again, we are reminded that our days are numbered and we know not when. And we also want to remember one more of the family, and that is little Abigail, daughter of Rhonda and Daniel, the great-granddaughter of Ola. She was born July 20th, 98, and she died October 17th, 1998. That makes her about 4 months old. And I remember at one reunion on the other side of the family that we'd lost a little child like that. And Carrie Jacob Bonds had written something for such a time. And this is what she wrote. I love this. A little pink rose in my garden grew, the tiniest one of all. 'Twas kissed by the sun, caressed by the dew. Oh, little pink rose in my garden, little pink rose was you. A little pink rose of your mother's heart, have you faded and gone away? As the gardener gathered my little pink rose for his loveliest garden today. Did he need one more blossom of your size and hue? And was that the reason the gardener chose you? So we remember little Abigail today. Thank you for letting me share. I'm fine.
All right, and all of us can be kind of sobered here by the loss of all of those people. And certainly I have been too. But that's not what we're here for, and I think many of those, in fact all of them, I'm sure would have wanted us to have a good time, and that's what we're going to do here. Ignore her. She's not a part of this group. Who are you?
Who wants to know?
What do you want?
Wants to know anyhow.
I do.
Somebody wants to know. And you're at the stage for what reason?
Well, I have a chair or something.
I don't know if I should let you have a chair or not, but I'll get you a chair.
Who are you?
Oh,
Hey, you're pretty cute.
I'm going to let you go. Yeah, you go, girl.
Hey, Turkey.
Give her a dead one.
Give me a dead one. I think I've had a few of them too. Oh, yeah, I have. He thinks he was a detective or something. I think that guy thought he was. Oh, my goodness. Hey, it's been a while since we've been back together again, huh? So some of you that are here, you didn't have choices, did you? You were born right into this whole family. And then there are those of you that made choices. You could really make a choice to get in here. You know how they tell you that you got to think twice about things? I think you should think about 10 times before you think about it again. Oh. 5 years ago, you know, I told you about some of my travels. Well, I've been having a few more. I'm just going to tell you about a few. 5 years ago, when we were together, and I told you about the traveling, now I've started with some other friends that I had met. So, one of my friends, we went to a campgrounds. We rented this great big camper, and we went to the campgrounds, and we were there for a day or two, and I'm looking around, and I said to this old big Norwegian that's running the camp, I said, there's a great big cliff over there. You should put a sign up so that nobody falls over. And here, old Norwegian, he says, oh, yeah, man, I used to have a sign up there, but nobody fell over, so I took it down. What an idiot. I asked for a teleprompter like Tom Brokaw has. Couldn't get it. Then, a couple of years ago, another scary thing happened to me. So last year, you know I have these sisters up at home, you know. They're still around once in a while. Anyhow, her and I go on this trip together, and we're going out to Montana. Well, you know, when you go out there, you gotta ride horses. So this guy says, well, you have a choice of what kind of saddle you want. You can prefer an English saddle or a Western saddle. Hey, what's the difference, she says. Well, the Western saddle has a horn. Well, she says, I don't think I need the horn. I don't intend to ride in any heavy traffic anyway. That's enough about my travels. Do any of you have bad memories? Maybe you don't. But I gotta tell you, I have a little bit of a bad memory. So, I gotta tell you about some friends of mine that really had a bad memory. This couple, they're in their 80s, and they're really concerned about that they can't remember anything anymore. So they go to the doctor, and they want to find out what's wrong with their health. So, now that the doctor says they're physically fit, but maybe with the memory, what you ought to do is start writing things down a little bit so that you remember. Well, okay, so one night I'm over there with my friends, and he gets up, and she says, where are you going? He says, to the kitchen. She says, well, bring us a bowl of ice cream then. Okay, he says. She says, you better write it down so that you remember. I'll remember, he says. Well, she says, we want some strawberries on the ice cream. shows about midlife crisis and all those things? Well, she says that lately, midlife crisis is the greatest time for women. Please, let me tell you about midlife crisis. I've got a few thoughts of my own about midlife crisis. Whether you're pushing 40 or 50 or 60 or just pushing whatever the heck you're pushing. Midlife is when you grow hair on your legs. Oh no, that's not it. Midlife is when the hair doesn't grow on your legs anymore and it ends up over here in your mustache. Oh yeah, that's it. And in midlife, you know, women no longer have upper arms. No, they have wingspan. You know these kind of things here? Yeah. We're no longer in sleeveless shirts. We're, you know, like flying squirrels in a bag.
Uffda.
Uffda. Oh yeah, the other thing about midlife, you have to go have those dang mammograms all the time. Oh my. You realize that this is the only time anybody's ever going to ask you to be topless, you know? Why call up the word mammogram anyhow? You know, when I hear the word mammogram, I think I'm supposed to put my breath in an envelope and send it somewhere. Holy cow. Midlife is when you want to take, you know, those young girls that are still walking around and they have the really good breath. You just want to hang on and say, listen, honey, even the Roman Empire fell into its in midlife, your memory starts to go. In fact, the only thing you retain is water. Yeah, I know. But midlife also means you become more reflective. You start pondering the big questions. You know, what is life? Where am I? How much healthy choice ice cream can I be eating before it's not a healthy choice anymore? Midlife also brings along appreciation of what is important. We realize that our breasts are going to sag and our hips are going to expand and our chins are going to expand more, but our loved ones make our journey worthwhile. Would any of you trade the knowledge that you now have for the body that you had way back then? Maybe our bodies simply have to expand to hold all the wisdom and love we required. Anyhow, that's my philosophy and I'm sticking to it. I gotta tell you about a video I got though. You thought I was done, didn't you? Did you want me to be done? Okay, are you done?
I'm still trying to recognize it.
I told you my name was Louie, sister. I'm the only one. And I'm always looking for something, but I don't know about you.
I didn't recognize you with your new hat and
Don't you like it? I went to the Salvation Army and got me a new hat and a new dress.
I thought you were Minnie Pearl.
Well, yeah, why? I got my take on to tell you I know that. Here's what you can have for breakfast. You can have a grapefruit and a slice of whole wheat toast and a cup of skim milk. I think that's what you have. What a boring thing. Then your lunch. You can have a small portion of lean steamed chicken with a cup of spinach and a cup of herbal tea, and you get yourself a Hershey's Kiss. Yeah, then for the afternoon tea, you get the rest of those Hershey Kisses. And you get a whole tub of Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and you eat it with chocolate chip topping. Yeah. Then for dinner, heck, you can have 4 glasses of wine. Doesn't matter if they're red or white. Who cares? You can have 2 loaves of garlic bread. You can have a family-sized pizza and 3 Snicker bars. Then before you go to bed, you have a whole Sara Lee cheesecake, and you eat it right from the freezer. Hey, that's living. Woo. Did you know that stress spelled backwards is desserts? Okay. I just got to tell you one more thing about the body, what happens with the body. You know, did you read that scare mail that's out there? There's so much scare mail out there. And it's even on the internet. Anyhow, there was someone whose kidneys were stolen while they passed out. I think that's an urban legend, I'm not sure. But, you know, things are happening every day, I'm going to tell you. Because on June 3rd, a few years ago, my pies were stolen right off of me. You know what? The next morning I woke up, I got some kind of tie. My thigh is just like oatmeal. Whose kind of thigh is that? I went to sleep in this body and I woke up with someone else's thigh. Hey, who is to have such because you know why? They took the pains to ratchet up my rear end to match up with my ties. It was attached 3 inches lower than it used to be, though. Now my rear end complemented my legs and the lumps that I had all over. Oh. 2 years ago, I realized that my arms had been switched. Yeah. One morning while I'm fixing my hair, I'm watching horrified. There it is, just hanging in the wind. Oh, that's not my arm. I never used to have an arm like that. I was scared. So my body was being replaced. So what could we do next? Age? Age doesn't have anything to do with it. Age is just supposed to creep up slowly and unnoticed. And I don't know. I was being attacked. That's what. Without warning, I knew I was being attacked. So that's why I wanted to share my story. I just can't take it any longer. Because I know of somewhere out there, someone who has, you know, those Facebooks, look at them next time. Whose body do they have? Whose eyelids do they have? Those nice eyelids. Yeah. I tell you what, I hope Cindy Crawford paid a lot for my thighs. I am going to be done. I just got to find out, you know, I am a big Viking fan. I like the football team, the Vikings, and I know there's some of you out there that are probably those Green Bay Packers. You know, I think that you got to think about it, but I got to tell you this joke a little bit about Sven and Ole at the Vikings. Sven and Ole died, and you know they went to hell. So they're down there in hell, and the devil says, "Why aren't you hot?" And they said, "Well, we come from Minnesota and it's always cold. This is feeling pretty good to us." Wow, the devil, he got so upset. So he turns the thermostat up again. And he says, he comes and he checks out all his men and they're still got their winter clothes on and everything. He says, "Well, why aren't you upset? It's very, very hot." "Well, don't you remember, we're from Minnesota and it's very, very cold there. This is feeling really nice to us." So he's really mad, he gets mad, he turns the thermostat up again all the way to maximum. So then he waits a few days and he goes back and he visits the William Sven and there they are. They got their jackets all zipped, but they still got them on. So the devil decides, what am I going to do? I know I'll fix them. I'll turn that thermostat way down and it'll get cold. So he does that. And he comes back a few days later and there's Sven and Ole, they're doing the high fives and everything else and they're just having a whole fun time and the devil says, "Well, what is going on?" And Sven says, "Well, you know, they said the Vikings would win the Super Bowl when hell freezes over." Okay, you could have it now, bud.
Not in the sun too long.
All right. Jeannie, have you passed those out? Before I was so rudely interrupted by Lonely, I was going to explain that we have an application for Larson adoption, and it's my understanding that there's some people that are interested in being possibly adopted. And of course, you're aware that we've adopted people in the past into the Larsons, but I want to make it clear that it's not easy to get adopted into the Larson clan because we're pretty picky. But we are going to give applications out, and I think Jeannie passed them out to each of the 11 family groups. And we're going to have people that want to apply, or people that want to nominate people to apply to be adopted into the Larson group to fill out that application. And then when we fill that application out, I don't know if we're going to be set to approve them this year. But of course, maybe in 5 years we might approve and we'll look at those applications. And part of the test will be if you can even keep track of that application for 5 years. Now, the other thing about that application form is that when you fill it out, you don't want to think too much about the answers. Because as you know, the Larsons can change the answers at any given time. All right, so fill those out, and I think what I changed my mind, Carol, I'm not going to have them do it in 10 minutes. I'm going to make them wait for 10 years or 5 years, and they bring those applications back. The next talent that we have is, and this fit real well with what Carol had to say about Earl, who's always will have a fond spot in my heart also. Brenda and Natalie are going to be doing a medley of songs of Earl's. And come on up.
This is a sing-along song, so you can all sing along in this one. There you go. Sunshine, my only sunshine, you make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The Don't take my sunshine away. Do you remember the third verse? No. Okay, that's the end of the song now. She puts me on the spot and says, say something about Dad, and I go, well, what can I say? What can I say about him? Other than the fact that he brought everybody together with his music. Regardless of anything that happened between anybody, he could get up on stage and make everybody just love everybody and smile with his music. And I guess that's what we want to do today, is to bring everybody together. And I am so privileged to be here. And I'm so glad that Alan said that, because, you know, we flew 1,300 miles to be here just for today. And I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
All right.
Lord, today I overheard. Whoops, I can't remember how it goes. But we'll try that one again. Lord, today I overheard someone speak your name, but why do they take it in vain? If they only knew the cost that you had to pay, let's be careful of words that they say. I've got a personal feeling for Jesus, and it hurts to know that some don't care. But I'll try and do my best to lead others your way. Let's be careful of words that we say. I've got a personal feeling for Jesus, and it hurts to know that some don't care. But I'll try and do my best to lead others your way. Let's be careful of words that we say. Okay, I'll say a couple other words. As you know, that the Berg family singers, unlike the Von Trapp family singers, we had a traitor in the But we sang a lot. I don't know if any of you ever heard that song before, but we sang that a lot with when we sang around in the churches. I know a lot of people never heard that before, but we sang that a lot with a really good friend of ours, Danny Johnson. And Brett and I haven't sang together for 25 years. About that, right, about 25 years.
That was great.
And that's the first time we got to sing that. And I thought that was pretty special, and that we needed to let you know that that's one thing that you didn't know about my dad, is that he never sang that song for you guys, so I just wanted to
All right. All right.
Yeah, now we're gonna do the fun stuff now. One fun. You have the words are on the back of it. Take away the trees and the birds will have to sit on the ground. Take away their wings and the birds will have to walk to get around. And take away the bird baths and dirty birds will soon be everywhere. Take away the feathers and the birds will walk around in underwear. Take away their chirp and the birds will have to whisper when they Aren't you glad?
One more.
Walk through this world with me. Go where I go. Share all my dreams with me. I need you so. In life we search, and some of us find. I look for you, such a long, long, long time. And now that I've found you, new horizons I see. Come take my hand and walk through this world with me. Walk through this world with me. Go where I go. Share all my dreams with me. I need you so. In life we search. I look for you. Such a long, long, long time. Where the hell? New horizons I see. Come take my hand and walk through this world with me. Sorry.
It's your fault.
She looked at me. I can't believe it. She looked at me. Sounds like little kids.
That's just to test the dogs around here. Well, as I was listening there, it really did bring back memories of Earl and the fond memories that we have. Certainly, I got to know Earl better as we went fishing up north so much in Canada. It always was fun. Now, I understand I got a response already on this application form for Larson adoption. And I think what I want to do is this, apparently this person's pretty anxious. A guy by the name of Dean Stokes. Can you come up? Why don't you come up here? Where is Dean? Is he here?
Yeah, I do.
Have a seat. Now, of course, your mother-in-law was the one that helped do this a little bit. So you can blame her, not me. However, she didn't know that I was going to bring you up here. It's my understanding that Dean, and of course he didn't know that we actually have to apply for something. In fact, I'm sure he was hoping that when I put out this application, it would just be a blank page. And first criteria, I thought I'd just let him know, and the rest of you that might want to put someone up for adoption is, can you read? That's the first qualification. I guess you pass that. Not all of them. The other thing is, you know, others that been adopted. I know we adopted an Irishman last time, but I wanted him to know that Irishman, it took him 46 years to become adopted. Isn't that right, Glenn? 46 years and it's still questionable. I almost think you should reapply also. I don't know if you've been good the last 5 years and if you've qualified to continue to be a Larson. But it's my understanding that Dean Stokes is his last name, and he's full-blooded Belgian. Now, to allow a Belgian into the Larson clan, I guess I want another criteria from him just to start off, because if you can't tell the difference, he's almost washed out right away. Can you tell which flag is behind you? The Norwegian, well, that's one. Oh man, he's got that. There's two down now. Well, there's a couple of things I've got written down here, but I may wait because, you know, we're just not going to really adopt him here yet. But the other thing I thought about having him do, and he can think about this for 5 years, and that is we're going to give him a Belgian cookie, and we're going to give him a piece of Lefse in the other hand. And he's got to decide which one he wants. Oh, that's a tough one. See, he hesitated. No good. Well, the lutefisk, that comes in the adoption form. And the lutefisk, the key there, he has to like it. He had it for Christmas, but did you like it?
Yes, I did.
I think he had that. Yeah, that's a story. I don't even like it. Because that's a Swede to me. Well, it's my understanding, of course, that he's a social climber also. He wants to climb the social ladder from being Belgian and, to that, you know, upper class of Larson, which is Norwegian and Swede. Well, if he's a social climber, then he must think that he wants to prove a point with us, and what he does really knows that we don't have any points except on our heads. So anyway, he's one of the candidates that we got to think about, and we've got 5 years to think about it. And in Larson years, that's short. Okay, we can do that. Now, as opposed to lonely, I have my papers attached for the most part so they won't blow away. And I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any talent, so beforehand, many of you know that I went around and was checking for different people's talent and stuff. And I talked to Terry Larson, and I was told that he had lots of talent and he could sing and stuff, but he wasn't going to sing. And that he can drive a car, too. He can drive race cars. He keeps crashing them. And Joyce, I talked to Joyce a little bit, and she said she had talent, but she didn't want to talk about it. And Victor, of course, I talked to Victor and Cheryl, of course, has talent for Victor. And he has none. At this time, I am going to ask Marlis and Melinda and Glenn to come up here if they are ready. And I think they're going to do a skit about the Vikings. The Vikings that I know a few of you would know, the Vikings I'm thinking of was it makes it cold. They had a dome stadium where Green Bay does.
Hey, you're definitely not qualified to be adopted.
I'm not sure we have a lot of talent in our family, especially after watching all of this before us. It's been a pleasure to watch it. Great to have Nancy back doing her skit, too. Well, as most of you know, I'm Olaf Larson's daughter. And just as important, I'm the illustrious wife of the illustrious Irishman. as you know, was adopted 5 years ago. Now, he has to continue, and as our applicants know, to prove that they are good, certainly sweets, and can continue on in the Larson family. Now, I've been, again, living with this man for 42 years, but have known him over 52. And in the last 5 years, I've been looking for some infractions, and I have found one major one. But I have to tell you, I think probably we'll all forgive it, but I think maybe we should at least mention it to him because it is a little bothersome. And that is Glenn oftentimes, and more often, forgets to replace the toilet paper. But I figured, well, I can live with an Irishman, if that's his only infraction. But I decided that I had a couple little gifts for him. Now, Glenn, in the last 5 years since he was adopted, took up the game of golf. Now, for those who have even played with Glenn, you know he has his ups and downs. Probably mostly downs. But I decided what he needed was a Swedish golf ball. Now, this is a true Swedish golf ball. See the Swedish flag on it? Now, that's going to help him with his golf game and also to remind him to replace the toilet paper. And then also I have some Swedish teas, and they're made in Sweden also. See, blue and yellow? That's going to also help him with his golf game, and also help him remind him to do other things too. But most important, dear, I'm going to give you a little pin, and that's going to remind you that living with a Swede builds character. So Glenn is going to wear that for the next 5 years. And remind him also to replace the toilet paper. Now, for further ado, dear, I won't belabor this. I will give you a big kiss and turn the mic over to the rest of the Vikings. Okay, and Melinda will introduce and let you know what's going on in this part. Okay. Brendan is Irish and Liam is Irish, but they are Vikings through and through.
We interrupt this news broadcast to bring you...
Hey, what are you doing?
Come on, I just woke up. Well, as I was saying, we interrupt this news broadcast to bring you... Well, you'll find out.
In the time of the Vikings, Norsemen gathered together in an assembly to make an important decision. Today we have an important decision to make. It concerns the matter of Glenn Hoy's adoption into the Larson clan. He was, if you remember, officially adopted 5 years ago. But his adoption is up for reconsideration today. And we will need to test him to see if he remains a worthy Norseman, a worthy Viking, a worthy Larson. We will ask 3 questions of Glenn, all of which he must answer correctly. Our 3 questions will test how well he knows the Norse gods of the Vikings and the names of our weekdays. But before we begin, let me introduce my assistants. First, this is Leif Erikson with his 8-year-old antlers. And this is Eric the Red with his 10-year-old antlers. And I am their mother with my 40-year-old antlers. You might have noticed they droop after a certain age. Okay, let the test begin. Are you ready?
Ready choice?
All right, stand back. Question number 1. What day of the week was named after the Norse god Odin, or Rodin?
Can I turn to my kids here quickly? I guess it's Wednesday.
He answered Wednesday, and that is correct. Question number 2.
What day is named after the Norse god Thor?
Thursday.
Thursday.
He answered Thursday, and that is correct. It was named after the Norse god Thor.
What day comes before Woden's Day?
Beanstalk.
Tuesday.
That's correct. Tuesday is named after the Norse god Tyr. Glenn, you answered all questions correctly. You have passed
You
the
are
test.
our winner.
But this will probably not be the only test, so we offer you our congratulations and best wishes for whatever follows.
You have won $50,000. Good luck with the money.
Liam's one.
That's the answer.
He has something to say, but should we let him say it?
Anyone subjected to this type of abuse must be given an opportunity. Oh, man. My dear Belgian friend. You know, part of me can't really remember too clearly becoming a member of this Larson clan, you know. Getting a little older, but in fact, wonderful things have happened to me in my life since I became a Larson, and I'd kind of like to tell you about them. In fact, I've written these experiences down and to share with you. It has to do with gaining a better understanding of Larson women, especially Larson women who are growing older. Let me see that. I really felt that my experience has been so valuable that I should pass it on. And it follows. It is important for men to remember that as women grow older, it becomes harder for them to maintain the same quality of housekeeping as they did when they were younger. When men notice this, they should try not to yell. Let me tell you how I handled the situation. In fact, I've done so well, I feel compelled to share what I have learned with Larson Mento, because I see so many Larson women in this crowd who are getting older. Okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Shortly after I became a member of the Larson family, I looked around me and I discovered that most of the Larson men folk were playing all the time. So I decided to retire immediately. I'm still a young man, and I really thought I owed it to myself to retire and kind of enjoy life. Well, I thought Marlis would rejoice with my coming home, you know. She told me she would stay with me through thick or thin. But then she reminded me it was never for lunch. So I told her I thought maybe she should get a job. She should get the job, and I would stay at home and be the housemaid. Shortly after that, she started working at this job. Then I noticed that she was beginning to show her age. I usually get home from fishing, you know, or golfing about the same time that she gets home from work. And although she knows how hungry I am, she always says she has to rest a half hour or so before she starts supper. You know, I try not to yell at her when this happens. Instead, I tell her, just take your time, honey. I understand that you're not as young as you used to be. I just tell her to wake me up when she finally gets supper ready on the table. Now, she used to wash the dishes, you know, as soon as we finished eating. It is now not unusual for them to sit on the table, though, for several hours after supper. I do what I can, you know, by reminding her several times each evening that they ain't cleaning themselves. I know she appreciates this, as it does seem to help her get them done before she goes to bed. Also, you know, after I've had a really good day fishing, you know, I bring it home kind of early because I know she needs some extra time to gut and scale the fish. I mean, playing a little occasionally, you know. Not often, mind you, but just enough for me to notice.
For example, she will say that it's difficult for her to find time to pay the monthly bills during her lunch hour. Well, in spite of her complaining, I continue to try to offer encouragement. I tell her to stretch it out over 2 or maybe even 3 days. That way she won't have to rush so much. I also remind her that missing lunch completely now and then wouldn't hurt her anything. Now, when doing these simple jobs, she seems to think she needs more rest periods than she used to have to take. Well, a couple weeks ago, she said that she had to take a break when she was only about halfway done mowing the lawn. Well, I overlook comments like these because, I realize it's just age talking. In fact, I try to not embarrass her when she needs these little extra rest breaks. I tell her to fix herself a nice big cold glass of freshly squeezed lemonade and just sit for a while. Actually, I tell her that as long as she's making one for herself, she may as well get one for me. So she can talk with me until I want to leave. Well, I could go on and on. But I think you know where I'm coming from. I know that I probably look like a saint in the way I support Wallace. Now, I'm not saying that the ability to show this consideration is easy. Many men will find it very difficult. In fact, some of you may find it impossible. No one knows better than I do how frustrating women can become as they get older. My purpose in writing this is simply to suggest that you make the effort. I realize that achieving the exemplary level of showing consideration I have attained is out of the reach for the average man. However, guys, even if you just yell at your wife a little less often because of these remarks, I will consider it worthwhile and agree to remain in the Larson until the next Uffda reunion, at least.
I got just 2 comments. Did you notice that his horns were really drooping? The other thing, I've been with him up in Canada. Marlis kept on wanting to remind him of toilet paper, but he never asked for toilet paper. I don't know what that means. Well, I've already got another application, and I'm not going to make him come up here yet, but I know that he certainly has one qualification. It's Brad Van Binsbergen, and the one qualification he has is he's already living on the Larson farm. The only negative to it, however, is that he didn't follow my directions. He's got to hand this to me 5 years from now. Loser. Well, if he loses it, then he can't be Larson. We're tough here, aren't we, Carol? All right. And we're going to keep rolling here. We've got just a couple more. We have a Dan Gedman's children, Maverick, if they would come up here, Maverick, Nakia, and Kizare, and they're going to play some songs with their instruments and tell a couple of jokes. Please come on, Jared. Dan? Okay.
Get it in the box.
Obviously, they're much smarter than their parents because they got fancy instruments that Larson's never heard of. If you're you'll have to lay on 4 years old. Is this no
Good tension, the poor kid.
Well, they're talking me into doing a couple shows. Wasn't that great? Yeah.